All thanks and praise is due to the basis foundation. God is most great, and none has the right to worship you. Hello everyone, it's Stepdogg the Hip Hop Prophet, and I'm here with the next video in the YouTube series. And the name of this video is The Book of Revelation Revealed, Part 25, The Woman and the Dragon Before the Hour of Judgment. The next section is titled The Woman and the Dragon, and it's a longer section, so I'm going to break this one up to before the hour of judgment and after the hour of judgment. Okay. A great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars on her head. She was pregnant and cried out in pain as she was about to give birth. Then another sign appeared. In heaven, an enormous red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns on its head. Its tail swept a third of the stars out of the sky and flung them to the earth. The dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth, so that it might devour her child the moment he was born. She gave birth to a son, a male child, who will rule all the nations with an iron scepter. And her child was snatched up to God and to his throne. The woman fled into the wilderness to a place prepared for her by God, where she might be taken care of for 1,260 days. Then war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. But he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him. Okay. Some of this touches on the hour of judgment. I hate to say it. The last section that I read. But nonetheless, just to make this section a little easier to break up into videos, I will discuss that part as well. Okay, so let's dig in. This is all about my mother and me. Okay, so a great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars on her head. Okay, this is all about me being the morning star. The morning star is always given to the Christ. Always. It was given to Jesus. It was given to me. That's what the morning star is. It is what allows you to know that you are the Christ. Or it's at least given to the second Christ. Now this description. My mother was clothed with the sun when she was pregnant with me. Like basically, this is describing when my mother was pregnant. She was clothed with the sun. That means the womb inside of her was the morning star, because the sun is a star. I'm going to explain why it's the morning star though too. With the moon under her feet. Okay, now if the moon is under your feet, what does that mean? That means the nighttime is over and it's the morning. If the moon was above your head, well, that means it's the evening. So that's what makes this whole thing about me and the morning star. You know what I mean? Because my mother was clothed like the sun, like a star, and her feet were above the moon, which means the nighttime was over and it's the morning star. Not only that, but she had a crown of 12 stars on her head. I was born in the month of December, 12th month of the year. She was pregnant and cried out in pain as she was about to give birth. Then another sign appeared in heaven, an enormous red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns on its heads. Okay. The dragon is the devil. Now I'm going to explain all these characteristics of the devil. The 7 heads are the 7 kingdoms of the devil since Jesus was crucified. The first kingdom of the devil is the Roman Empire. The second kingdom of the devil is the French Revolution. The third kingdom of the devil is the reign of Napoleon. The fourth kingdom of the devil is the Nazi movement. The fifth kingdom of the devil is the communist bloc in Russia. And the sixth kingdom of the devil is the Illuminati. We're living in the sixth kingdom right now. The seventh kingdom doesn't come until the end of the 1,000 years of God's golden reign. But there's 7 kingdoms of the devil since the crucifixion of Jesus. The 10 horns represent the 10 factions of this kingdom of the devil, the Illuminati. And I'm going to explain the Illuminati in the section after this. But nonetheless, those 10 horns represent the 10 factions of the current kingdom of the devil, the Illuminati. And the 10 factions basically rule over the 7 continents of the earth. I'll explain that in that section. Okay, then we have the 7 crowns on the 7 heads. The 7 crowns are the 7 antichrists corresponding to each kingdom. The Antichrist of the Roman Empire was Nero because he killed all the Christians that lived in the... He burnt down the part of Rome where all the followers of Jesus lived. That's what he did. The second Antichrist was Maximilian Robespierre. He was responsible for the reign of terror during the French Revolution. The third Antichrist was, of course, Napoleon. You know, he was the dictator and emperor during, you know, the Napoleonic era, or however you would say that. The fourth Antichrist was Hitler, you know, because he was the leader of the Nazi movement. The fifth Antichrist was Joseph Stalin, the leader of the Russian Communist bloc. The sixth Antichrist is Michael Jordan, the former basketball player who murdered his father in an Illuminati blood sacrifice. The seventh Antichrist hasn't come. They will come after the end of the 1,000 years of God's reign on the earth. That is, you know, basically describing the dragon here. You know what I mean? That's the description of the dragon. But anyway, its tail swept a third of the stars out of the sky and flung them to the earth. Basically, that means that the devil already knows. Like basically, the Chinese, the symbol of the Chinese is the dragon. And the devil already knows during the mother of all wars that the army of the dragon, the 200 million man army of China, is going to kill 1/3 of all mankind. And, okay. The dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth, so that it might devour her child the moment he was born. She gave birth to a son, a male child, who will rule all the nations with an iron scepter. That's me. And basically it's like this. My mother knew before she even conceived me that I was going to be the second Christ. And basically the devil was waiting the whole time to just kill me. Yeah, let him have sex one time, get somebody pregnant, and as soon as the woman's pregnant and they're going to have a male boy, that's it. We're killing them. So, I mean, from before my birth, this was the game plan. And that's what's being described there. And her child was snatched up to God and to his throne. Well, when my mother finally, you know, tried to kill me before I went to jail, when I went to jail is when I was snatched up to God, because during the first 2 months of being in prison, that's when I learned the golden rule. And that's what saves you from the pit of hell. Okay, the woman fled into the wilderness to a place prepared for her by God, where she might be taken care of for 1,260 days. Okay. After I got out of jail, I know that 42 months that they're talking about here was the 42 months prior to the hour of judgment. Basically, my mother had this Puerto Rican scumbag, Elliot Cruz, move right next to me to spy on me and keep tabs on me. And basically, my mother has had 42 months to basically keep me under wraps and under control. She has failed, and this is the 42 months that is being referenced right here. The 42 months prior to the hour of judgment. Then war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. But they were not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent, the devil, who led the world astray. Well, basically, it's not that the devil was ever in heaven. The devil is not allowed to be in heaven, but basically what the Illuminati has done is they elevated themselves to the level of God. I mean, they chose Michael Jordan to be the Antichrist because he has influenced, you know, at least 3 generations of young people. At least. And not only that, but the Antichrist, Michael Jordan, has also tampered with the weather, which I'm going to explain in this section about the Antichrist. And, you know, they've been basically acting as God here lately. You know, basically, they decide what the weather's going to be. They decide who lives and who dies. They decide how science pursues, I guess you could say the course of science, like with all this genetic engineering and all this nonsense. They decide all that stuff. Not only that, but with the Illuminati blood sacrifice and all these other mechanisms that they have and signs and whatnot. Basically, they decide who succeeds and fails. Basically, they act like they're playing God. But with the hour of judgment, that's when they are defeated. And that's when the devil gets thrown down to the ground. Not necessarily to the ground in a physical way, but the devil gets exposed in our world and can't hide in any way, shape, or form. It is completely exposed, and everybody knows that this whole situation is real at that point. That's basically what they're saying here. Okay, and this, you know, the serpent called the devil, or Satan, who led the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him. Well, basically, you know, everything that the devil was doing and all the occult stuff, all the religions associated with the devil, all the idol worship, everything else associated with the devil, even if it's not necessarily called devil worship, is exposed. You know what I mean? You now know that God is real, and you either follow the golden rule or you go to hell. And there's no escape. And the devil, you know, is stuck. It's like the devil's totally exposed, and it's going to be exposed even further. But I haven't gotten to explain that yet. And some of that will be explained in the second half of The Woman and the Dragon. But this was the first half, before the hour of judgment. The second half is coming up next. But anyway, this is the first section of The Woman and the Dragon. All thanks and praises due to the basis foundation. God is most great. None has the right to be worshipped but you.